Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. This is Lamentations 4, verse 7. Her Nazarites, or the nobles, were brighter than snow and whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies, like sapphires in their appearance. Now their appearance is blacker than soot. They go unrecognized in the streets. Their skin clings to their bones, as it has become as dry as wood. Those slain by the sword are better off than those who die of hunger, for those pine away, stricken for the lack of the fruits of the field. The hands of the compassionate women have cooked their own children. They became food for them in the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord has fulfilled his fury. He has poured out his fierce anger. He kindled a fire in Zion, and it has devoured its foundations. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would have not believed that the adversary and the enemy could enter the gates of Jerusalem, because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, who shed in her midst the blood of the just. They wandered blind in the streets. They have defiled themselves with blood, so that no one would touch their garments. They cried out to them, "Go away, unclean, go away, go away. Do not touch us," when they fled and wandered. Those among the nations said, "They shall no longer dwell here." The face of the Lord scattered them. He no longer regards them. The people do not respect the priest, nor show favor to the elders. Still our eyes fail us, watching vainly for our help. In our watching we watched for a nation that could not save us. They tracked our steps so that we would not walk in our streets. Our end was near. Our days were over, for our end had come. Our pursuers were swifter than the eagles of the heavens. They pursued us on the mountains and lay in wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was caught in their pits, of whom we said, "Under his shadow we shall live among the nations." Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, you who dwell in the land of Uz. The cup shall also pass over you, and you shall become drunk and make yourself naked. The punishment of your iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no longer send you into captivity. He will punish your iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will uncover your sins. And this is Lamentations 5. Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Look and behold our reproach. Our inheritance has been turned over to aliens, and our houses to foreigners. We have become orphans and waifs. Our mothers are like widows. We pay for the water we drink, and our wood comes at a price. They pursue at our heels. We labor and have no rest. We have given our hand to the Egyptians and the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers sinned and are no more, but we bear their iniquities. Servants rule over us. There is none to deliver us from their hand. We get our bread at the risk of our lives because of the sword in the wilderness. Our skin is hot as an oven because of the fever of famine. They ravish the women in Zion, the maidens in the cities of Judah. Princes were hung up by their hands, and elders were not respected. Young men ground at the millstones. Boys staggered under the loads of wood. The elders have ceased gathering at the gate. The young men from their music, and the joy of our heart has ceased. Our dance has turned into mourning. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us, for we have sinned. Because of this heart is faint. Because of these things our eyes grow dim. Because of Mount Zion, which is desolate, with foxes walking about on it. O Lord, remain forever. Your throne from generation to generation. Why do you forget us forever and forsake us for so long a time? Turn us back to you, O Lord, and we will be restored. Renew our days of old, unless you have utterly rejected us and are very angry with us. Now that's Lamentations. Now, I want to go back now to Genesis, and we're going to start at the creation story. And to start at the creation story, we need to read Revelation 12, verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to talk about Satan. God comes back to earth, and he finds a third of his children following Satan. And God got very, very angry. And he shook the earth. And the firmament, all that water that God had around the earth to produce the morning dew, well, we don't get the morning dew anymore because the firmament came crashing down into the ocean. And it raised the ocean levels up about 500-600 feet when it did that. Now, that I guess would be called the first flood. Now, we had a second flood after that during the time of Noah and the ark. That's because Satan sent the giants, or he sent the fallen angels, and when they mixed with the daughters of Adam, created giants and men of renown. And when that happened, it made it so that the giants were eating people. And God got upset with that, and he sent the flood, and Noah and his family, and he took, so there was Noah and his 3 sons, and then their wives, so that's 8 Adamic people with B blood type, and then you had 2 black folk, 2 white folk, and 2 red-skinned folk, and 2 Kenites. So that's 16 souls aboard the ark. So here we go. We're going to read Revelation. This is the first flood, whenever God came back to earth and found a third of his children. See, that's why God created flesh man. On the 6th day after the Cataclysm, the Cataclysm was 14,000 years ago, great cataclysm. There's evidence of it all over the earth. And God came back to earth, and he found a third of his children following Satan. And God got upset, and he shifted the plates. He was so mad. He knocked the North Pole 90 miles off rotation. He hit that place down in Bolivia so hard that it knocked the South Pole 1,000 miles off of rotation. Now, if you look at all these old ancient sites from all over the world, you'll see they either worship God there or they worship Satan there. What's out in front of the pyramids? That's a big statue of Satan. They were worshiping Satan right there at the pyramids. They always worshiped a bunch of little G gods over there in Egypt. They had one pharaoh named Akhenaten, and he wanted to worship the one God, the creator God, and he wanted to worship Ra. And he built a whole city. And then he was poisoned or killed somehow or another, and his boy, the boy king, King Tut, took over his job, and the priest talked King Tut into going back to all the old ways and worshiping a bunch of little G gods over there in Egypt. And ever since then, the Egyptians worship a bunch of little G gods, and now they're changed over to Muslim for the most part. But if you look down there in Chichen Itza, down in Mexico, they got the flying serpent coming down the steps and a bunch of snake heads coming out of the walls. The serpent, the snake, the dragon, all indications of Satan. That's Satan's symbols. So who do you think they were worshiping there in Chichen Itza? That's right, they were worshiping Satan there. And you can tell all these old ancient sites